Hi there, friends! Welcome to today's episodes of r/Am I the A-hole with one story from r/relationships. Make sure to share your thoughts and opinions on the stories in the comments below, as I would love to hear what you guys think too. Alright then, let's get right into it. Alrighty guys, our first story comes from r/relationships from user Dizzy_Foundation_406. Yeah, he says, my 29 male brother, 31 male, is marrying my high school sweetheart, 28 female, and I refuse to attend the wedding. I, 29 male, dated this girl, Val, 28 female fake name, when I was 17 and her 16. We were close. We swapped virginities, but I found we were incompatible around the time I turned 18. Val was understandably upset. I told her she needed to let go, and it took her a year to move on. As time went on, I regretted breaking up with Val, but she was in a committed relationship with someone else by the time I realized I wanted her. About 5 years after breaking up with Val, I found out she had unknowingly moved 3 blocks away from my house. We hung out a few times, and I walked her home from work since we also unknowingly worked right across the street from each other. I took this as a sign that we were going to get back together, but Val unfortunately told me that she no longer has the feelings that she did when we were in high school, and that it's best to stay friends as we were. I was sad, but I respected her decision. I ended up moving to a different state shortly after that. A year later, my brother Nick, 31 male, had asked me about my history with Val. I was confused on how he would know her because they had never met, and Nick was already out of high school when Val and I met. I sugarcoated it and said she was just a high school fling. Nick asked if it would bother me if he started to hang out with her because at the time his best friend was just murdered and her long-term relationship had ended and they both wanted someone to fuck their feelings out with. I said I didn't care given the circumstances and it probably wouldn't last because they didn't have genuine feelings for each other. This was in 2019 and now in 2023, Nick and Val are planning their wedding. Nick asked me to be his best man and I said no. He was confused, and I told him he's marrying my high school sweetheart, and there's no way I can stand at the altar and watch him marry her. He threw in the fact that he asked me if he could date her before even doing anything, and I said I didn't care, and now all of a sudden I do. I told him I always cared, I just didn't think it would last because he's such a dickhead, and she's the sweetest person you'd ever meet, and it was a sucky situation that they even started hooking up in the first place, and it doesn't make sense that she chose him over me. He said that maybe I should have realized what I had before calling it quits with Val. I guess he told Val what was said because she later messaged me saying that we were literal kids when we dated and I needed to let it go, and it's weird that now I'm suddenly not okay with them together when it's been years since it first started. I didn't argue with her, I just informed my family that I wouldn't be attending the wedding. My mom, stepdad, and most of my family are taking Nick's side, seeing it's been well over 10 years, and I had the chance to speak up, while my younger twin siblings are on my side saying Nick should respect bro code. I'm at a loss right now. Am I being unreasonable, refusing to be a part, let alone attend the wedding? Should I just keep silent and let it happen? Oh, yikes. On one hand, I do think it's a little weird to sleep with or date your sibling's ex. I don't think I could ever imagine dating someone that my sister had dated. That'd be so weird. Oh, but OP does suck a lot. Let's see. Now the comments are all pointing towards OP being a huge asshole. Commenter Tracy says, this is what 10 years of never really letting go will do to you. You've built up all this frustration and resentment and over a dynamic that in her eyes had never had the meaning you've convinced yourself it had. I feel sorry for your brother. He wanted you to be his best man. He clearly cares for you. Meanwhile, you've harbored all this resentment. He looked down on him, said these revolting things to him. I hope you take this as the chance to finally let go and move on. You let a relationship that ended in high school take over your entire life. Wisely and Slow agrees and says, I don't really know how to say this nicely, but I think you need to hear it. Your behaviors and views around Val specifically and relationships more broadly are incredibly toxic. You are being completely unreasonable and frankly creepy. It's been 10 years. I do agree with these comments. OP sucks and probably should consider therapy. I don't know, I just still think it's so weird to date someone that your sibling dated. Oh, I don't know, what do you guys think? What are your opinions? Okay then, let's move on to the r/Am I the Asshole subreddit. This next story was posted by user international_set522. He asks, am I the asshole for making my brother-in-law pay for his son's meal after I said it was my treat? I don't see my sister and her family very often, so when I do, I tend to splurge on them. I'm child-free for now and the foreseeable future, but probably not forever. I took her family out for dinner and I said it was my treat. So it was my sister, her husband, his mom who lives with them, myself, and 3 kids aged 15, 12, and 10. I took them out to a steak place in their city I always wanted to try. My 15-year-old nephew looks at the menu and says he wants the tomahawk steak. I said it was 3 pounds of meat, plus 3 full sides, and he should probably pick something smaller. My brother-in-law says his kid can eat it all, and I said it was my treat and I'm trying to cheap out. It was $190 for the steak. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Jesus Christ, that's so expensive. Anyway, I said it was fine, but if he doesn't eat it all, then you have to pay for it. He agreed. We order, and the waiter tells us the tomahawk is usually shared between several people since it comes with 3 shareable portions of sides as well. I asked my brother-in-law if he's sure. He looks at the kid and smiles and says no problem. We ordered, and when the food came out, the tomahawk and sides took up almost half the table. The kid finished less than a quarter of the steak and only a little bit of the sides. When the bill came, I asked to pay for 7 meals, all the drinks, and all the tip. The tomahawk steak on a separate bill for my brother-in-law. He paid with ill grace. My sister said that he used the budget that they had earmarked to take the family to see the new Spider-Man movie. I felt bad, but I think he was an asshole to try and waste my money. He thinks I'm an asshole for following through and make him pay for something that mostly went to waste. Yes, they took the leftovers home. I have to say, it really, really annoys me when people want to take advantage of the kindness of others. Brother-in-law is the asshole for sure. Although, I do have to say, teenage boys can eat for days. Oh my goodness, I have never seen anyone eat as much as a teenage boy, honestly. Commenter No Throw says what I was thinking here as well. Not the asshole. Ordering $190 steak on someone else's tab is rude and enough to make them the asshole, regardless of if it was all eaten or not. I totally agree with this. Whenever I eat with someone who's treating me, I try to pick cheaper options because I could never sit with the guilt of ordering something so expensive. Phew. Yikes. Alright friends, this next story comes from a deleted user who says, am I the asshole for pretending not to know my fiance after she had a meltdown during boarding the plane and was eventually thrown off? I imagine I'm going to get raked over the coals for this one. So my fiance, maybe not for much longer, and I were on our way back from a vacation recently. It was a great time and everything went off without an issue. That is until we started boarding the plane. Now I know better. I only bring a small backpack with essentials in case I don't get my checked bags. I can survive out of this backpack, and it will always pass baggage check for size and weight. Done a lot of traveling, so I fight the system. My fiance didn't want to listen to my advice and chose to bring basically a regular full-size bag that barely fits the standards of carry-on, but generally speaking, the airline worker doesn't want to deal with the trouble and allows it through. But this time the airline worker was not having it. It was a packed flight, we were boarding last in economy, and it was just a shit show. I got through just fine first with my little backpack, but I could hear the argument from the boarding tunnel thingy, and it was getting heated. I was about to go back and try and smooth it out, but my fiance rushed past and just boarded the plane. I assumed, not having heard it super clearly, that the attendant had given in and let her on. That was not the case. So we found our seats and settled in. I was pretty tired and I could tell she was upset, so I kind of tucked into the window and put my hat down and tried to take a nap. But soon after, the airline worker and a cop shows up, and they are not fucking around and want her off the plane. She tries to plead and cry, etc., but they are not having it. And maybe in a moment of panic or just plain self-preservation, the cop asks for it together, and I blurt out no, shaking my head emphatically. I got killer dagger eyes from her as she shot up and grabbed her bag and followed the cop out. She was also swearing and screaming the whole way out. Now obviously this was well after the event I'm posting this, but when she did eventually get home, she caught the next flight out with the bag checked. I was there to pick her up. She obviously thought I was the asshole, and to be honest, almost everyone I know thinks I'm an asshole, except my boss and coworkers, who, for context, were very much relying on me to be back on time, which I gave my word for I would. For a very important project that was time sensitive. They were all very happy it didn't get thrown off too. So, am I the asshole for this self-preservation? Oof. Yikes. Opie, that's really got to suck. Thank God this Karen is only your fiance and not your wife. Maybe it's time to rethink this relationship because she sounds exhausting. People in the comments are going to be somewhat divided on whether OP is the asshole or not, or if everyone sucks here. So you guys will have to let me know what you think. Green Seraphima says, everyone sucks here. Your fiance for forcing her away past boarding, and you for pretending you didn't know the woman you had intended to marry. You didn't act like a partner. You acted like a coward. A deleted user says, not the asshole. She was throwing a tantrum after fucking around with the rules. I'd be too embarrassed to be linked with someone like that as well. So, what do you guys think? Well, I don't think Opie should have left his fiancée to board alone and then denied knowing her. If she gets blacklisted or temporarily banned, then I too wouldn't want to be associated with her. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments below. This next story is by the old phone in the pool, who asks, am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my nephew's iPhone after I let him play with it in the pool? His mom assured me it had a waterproof case. See, where to begin here? We are on vacation as a family and staying at an Airbnb with a pool. I am about 15 years younger than my other siblings, and the plan was to go to an outlet mall, so I volunteered to stay and watch the kids, 6, 6, 5, and 5. One of the 6-year-olds has a brand new iPhone 14, and I made a quick remark that I'll make sure he keeps it away from the swimming pool. My sister's exact quote was, oh, it's okay, it has a brand name case on it, and it can get wet. I said okay, and told them to have a good time. The two 6-year-olds came up with pool games centered around that clock app trend that goes ooh-wee. Basically, everyone who heard ooh-wee, they'd throw the phone up in the air and go dive for it. Well, the case wasn't apparently that waterproof, and after about 10 minutes, the phone was completely soaked inside the case and the phone was dead, and the back was so hot it felt like it could burn your finger. My sister is livid with me and is expecting me to pay for the phone. I keep going back to the fact that she said the case was waterproof. She says I'm a major asshole if I interpreted waterproof for an iPhone being used as a dive toy. Am I the asshole here? Now, this might not be the popular opinion here, but I think everyone sucks here a little bit. The sister obviously sucks for giving such an expensive phone to a small child, for not being clear enough, and for expecting OP to pay. However, if OP is old enough to babysit 4 small children, then they're definitely old enough to know that phones and most phone cases are not fully waterproof. Most phone cases protect against being dropped in like a puddle or maybe even splashing water on them, like, minimal water contact, not being fully submerged. I think OP really should have known better. TGAH says not the asshole, and it was hard to read past one of the 6-year-olds has a brand new iPhone 14. Your sister is the asshole for that alone. And while that is very true, I must say I actually agree with designer Pax, who says everyone sucks here. Is this everyone's first day on Earth? You don't play with electronic devices in the pool. Dollars to donuts, your sister knew the kids already broke the phone, and she's hoping to pin the blame on you so you pay for a new one. Don't fall for it, and don't let children play with phones by the pool so you avoid the situation in the future. You could have locked the phone away inside just to be on the safe side, because surely everyone who isn't 6 years old knows that water and electricity don't mix, and that just because everyone said the case was waterproof doesn't mean it actually was. What do you guys think? Do you think Opie's the asshole? Do you think everyone sucks here? Do you think it was all the sister's fault and she should have been a lot clearer if she didn't want the phone by the pool? What do you guys think? Now, our last story is from VinFox, who asks, am I the asshole for making my wife cry because she threw my birthday party wrong? My wife is a lovely person whom I love very much, and we have a very strong relationship. She is, however, agreed by all parties, very emotional and prone to tears. That's fine. I knew what I was signing up for. It's just relevant context. Recently, I had a birthday. My wife asked what I wanted to do for it. I said that I would really like to just have a quiet day, mostly at home, wake up late, have coffee, play some video games, and the two of us could go for dinner. If we needed to do anything else, we could get a massage. She tends to prefer parties and big events, while I like to relax. If she just got dinner reservations somewhere low-key, and maybe even wore something sexy, that would be perfect. I didn't want anything else. That can be hard for her to understand, I think, because it's so different from her preferences, so she set up a big party. She told me, the morning of, that she had invited some people over to celebrate. I said, oh okay, that's not what I was expecting, who's coming? I think she could tell that I was a little disappointed, because she started to get kind of defensive, saying it's just a few of our friends, and they want to be with me on my birthday, etc. And that's fine. It's not a big deal. It isn't like I hate parties or our friends, so I said okay and we went about the day. Some friends and a couple of family members started arriving around noon and people stayed until about 6 p.m. It was nice to see people, no major issues, just not what I would have chosen for a big day off type of thing. I tend to like to relax and re-energize on weekends and find events like that when I'm the center of attention draining. My wife seemed a little on edge though, and that night while we were cleaning up, she asked how my birthday was. I said it was pretty good with a little bit of a shrug. Admittedly, that wasn't the most effusive praise, but I didn't like to be dishonest. It was fine, but not spectacular. She got really upset and burst into tears, telling me that she had worked hard on it, and it's so challenging when I won't participate or tell her what I want. I said it's okay, it's not a big deal or worth being so upset over, and I appreciated the effort she went to, and it was nice to see people. But I felt like I had been pretty clear about what my preference would have been, and it seemed like she didn't listen to me. That made her even more upset, as she said she couldn't believe she did so much for me, and instead of thanking her, I made her cry. I had thanked her earlier. The conversation didn't make much progress from here that night, and it still seems like a sore spot for us. She's been annoyed with me for the past few days for ruining my birthday. I didn't want to be ungrateful, but I don't really feel like I should be apologizing here. Am I just being stubborn? Now, the cat in the mask comments, as someone who cries easily, I hate it when people say anytime a woman cries she's being manipulative. That being said, your wife sounds extremely manipulative. Firstly, you did tell her what you wanted, in quite a lot of detail. Second, you didn't make her cry, she did that on her own. If the issue is truly that she cries easily, she should be mature enough not to blame others for that. Edit, let's not forget that the reason for her crying is you not thanking her enough for disregarding your wishes. Third, she's the one who made the mistake, but you're the one getting punished? Yeah, she can get out of here with that mess. Not the asshole. I have to say, I'm actually the same way as this commenter. I cry really easily sometimes, and I do worry sometimes that people will misunderstand it. However, OP's wife here seems to be using her tears to try and make him feel bad. So, not the asshole OP if you ask me. Practical Primrose also agrees in comments. She's emotionally manipulating you, not the asshole. You did explain the preferences, she just didn't want to hear them / honor them because she has a superiority complex and believes she knows best. When it turns out she did not, in fact, know best, she got defensive and upset and tried to cry her way out of the consequences. Yeah, this really sucks for OP. What do you guys think? Thanks for watching, everyone. I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe maybe. If there are any stories you'd like to hear, or if you'd like it if I included more comments or updates in these Reddit videos, then let me know. If you'd be interested in seeing any other style of video, including cooking or gameplay or whatever, just drop a comment and I'll be sure to respond. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye, friends!